Hello, thanks for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundell, for your April monthly horoscope for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to our channel, we'd be delighted if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you've got some big things going on in your life and you'd like some expert guidance, why not check out my one-to-one testimonials by seeing the link below. It's one of the most enriching parts of my work, working in this way. If you'd like to ascend above your zodiac sign in an affordable way and find out more about what really makes you tick, please check out my personal horoscope reports. There's a special offer on a year's forecast and also a character analysis, 30% off. Please see the link below. Hello Capricorn, and welcome to your April monthly forecast. This month begins with the Sun and the gorgeous Venus in house 4 of your solar horoscope. The fourth house is very much about how we feel about things, but it can also be about where we live, how we live there and who with. Venus in this sector can be very much to do with wanting a beautiful environment to occupy, so it can be about decor, colours, soft and home furnishings. Also, the fourth house can be very much about our immediate outdoor space, so our gardens. The fourth house also governs tranquility. And of course, the Cancerian energy of the fourth house means that if you do enjoy going for walks in nature by a river, a lake or oceans, then this is a fine time to do it, because you're looking for just a little bit of a breather to take stock of where you are, and if you can make some improvements to the base of your existence, I think you're going to be very proactive in the first 10 days of this month. And the reason for that, Capricorn, is that Mars is in a very hard-working and productive part of your situation, the sixth house. Mars is about our impulses. In the sixth house, it's a bit more sacrificing. So its angle between Mars and Venus can see you very busy if you're wanting to reorder your space, declutter, have a spring clean, be busy making things work that much better. And with Mercury arriving in this area on the 4th, as it does, this is also an added opportunity to think about how you relate to people that you're very close to. Now, Mercury in the 4th house could also see you contemplating about home working. If you have been doing some of that or have been spending extra time at home due to the COVID crisis, I think Mercury here could really be seeing you think about whether you want that to continue or you want to adapt how things were before the lockdown began and take the best of the experiences you've had, but also stick with some of the things as they were before. So I think there could be some things that you're contemplating, flexing around. Some people may create more space. If you've got it, you might want to create some kind of separation with the domestic environment, because that can make you or give you the peace and quiet to really concentrate on your work. Or it could be that you want to give up the full-time job you used to have, work more flexibly, spend more time at home, or even take a hobby that you're very passionate about and convert it into some kind of enterprise, and selling what you make at home online would be a fine way to capitalize on all these glorious influences. Now, obviously, Venus and Mars are the two planets of love. Mars is in the sixth house, is not the sexiest location. Venus is more about a kind of the feelings. If you're encountering someone at the start of this month who does just seem to sort of really get how you need to live in your home environment, and this could be someone you've met relatively recently or got to know relatively recently, just because it's not the most glamorous and the most sparkling sexual chemistry possible, I wouldn't discount it, because maybe just feeling at ease with someone is something that can be underestimated in relationships. Now, from the 4th through till the 14th, there is, however, a complex right angle between Mars and Neptune. One of the things I wouldn't try to do too much is to sweat the detail on things to the point that you're over-analysing them, because the sensitivity of Neptune in the third house is really quite substantial, whereas Mars in the sixth house is really quite brassy, almost cold and cool, to the point of just being so functional that it's more difficult to engage with those more ephemeral ideas. So on one hand, you could have an idea that you think really stacks up practically and then thrash it because you don't think it's got enough inspiration linked to it. Or it could work the other way around. You may come up with an idea that's brilliant and you know it's brilliant, but then you might just not have the spark of drive to actually put it into action. So just be careful you're not beating yourself up too much across those 10 days. Now on the 12th there is a new moon. If there has been a time when things haven't been so good at home, or your emotional connection hasn't been as enriching as you would like with a family member, with a partner or an offspring, then the new moon is obviously a great opportunity to improve that. But a fourth house new moon requires us to also be vulnerable in a way, because unless we can share how we're feeling and feel that the other person is receptive to those deeper feelings, what we can do is just stay in a kind of a slightly practical state where we're kind of getting along, but we're not really reaching into the corners of the potential of the relationship. So it could be like that with someone in your family where, there may be elements of them which just stop you opening up as you would wish. And what makes this new moon complex is that Pluto in your sign through to 2023 comes back to you later to 23 and then moves away from you finally in 24. Well, Pluto is very much about power, and since 2008 it's been asking you to not have power over people but have more power within yourself. But if there is something outstanding around a family or emotional dynamic, around a tie that's very close to you, and you feel that however much you try to create the environment where you can give the other person a chance to say how they feel, or you're sharing as much as you feel you're able to do, and it's still met with a coolness, I think you could be really frustrated on the back of this new moon, and you might find yourself being a bit more forceful in saying how you feel. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing if you've been pushing to one side how you really feel for a long time in order to keep the peace. Now Venus, also in your fourth house, then clashes in week 2 with Pluto. Now this is an interesting one. You could find yourself attracted to someone who you don't like, or you could find yourself attracted to someone who's already with someone, and it could be someone you know. When Pluto's involved in the mix, there's often leverage. There can be issues of possessiveness, control, all these kind of things. So something around the politics of a romantic relationship could come into the open in week 2, and you could find yourself tempted or a bit frustrated about the lack of spark that there may be between you and someone you may love, but is it really feeling that it's got a heartbeat? But things can change, and the Sun and Mars actually forge a very energizing link in weeks 2 and 3. And if you really want to get busy with that home project, whether it's refitting a bathroom or doing that painting or starting that home-based business, the energy that you can invest in that can be absolutely significant, and you show a lot of dynamism. And then on the 14th, a really lovely event happens, because Venus moves out of that more sensitive fourth house and into the glorious, very gregarious fifth. And if you really haven't had a chance to socialise with people, and what I love about Capricorn people is, as I've often said before, your great sense of humour. And I think you're going to have a lot more joyfulness in the second half of this month. Some of this stuff in the early part of the month is to do with knowing where you stand, feeling that your identity is clear, feeling that people are recognising and validating your right to have emotions and feelings and viewpoints. But I think the more playful and outgoing side of your nature really comes to the fore from the 14th, If you are single, don't be surprised if someone shows a big interest in you in the last 2 weeks of April. The 19th sees the Sun move into Taurus at 8:34 p.m. Universal Central Time, followed by Mercury, and that gives you 4 planets in Taurus. And this stellium, if you like, is brilliant because it's your 5th solar house, which is about being more exuberant, more outgoing, more interactive with others, indulge in the things that you like, all of life's pleasures, whether it's good food, good wine, music, laughter, and there can be some unexpected developments around invites that you get, or coincidental connections, or bumping into people. There can be some real spark and electricity between you and someone or some people that you encounter due to the role of Uranus, which can be tricky, difficult, unpredictable, restless bringing, but it also can be delightful. The thing with Uranus is that things happen quickly, so just be aware that someone can take your fancy in a major way in the latter part of this month, and that's going to be augmented by, on the 23rd, Mars moving into your opposite sign. In a technical sense, Mars doesn't do so well in Cancer, but it's going to be here for 6 weeks, so you may as well use it to your advantage. And this can give you more assertiveness around relationships. It can also see you more competitive, not in a horrible way, but if you work in a role where it's sales-led, you have to get the numbers in, you've got someone monitoring your performance, Mars in this area is really good for you. But it's also good if you have been, in a way, and you know this yourself, it's not me telling you this, so you'll either recognise this dilemma or you won't, but if you feel you have been putting your needs to one side, so to speak, Mars moving into this area can give you more confidence to push back and to assert your boundaries. The 27th sees a Scorpio full moon, the most passionate full moon of the whole year. For you, this is about balancing your time management. Everyone can seem to want a piece of you at the end of this month and into the first 2 weeks of May. And if you have been particularly secluded due to COVID restrictions, you may be absolutely delighted to be mixing and mingling to such a degree. But it wouldn't surprise me if, just as much as you enjoy all this, you're craving for some of the peace and tranquility of earlier in the month, or even over the last year. Because let's be honest, we've all changed. We've all learned lessons from COVID and the time we've spent at home. And we've learnt a lot about what makes us ourselves tick. And some of the people that you may have been happy to play with before may not actually captivate you in the same way, but you may find that new people will, because Uranus can create a turnover around your social alliances, and it can also give you a desire for much greater excitement in your love life. And if you are in a relationship which is as dull as ditch water, and as I said before, really doesn't have much other than going through the daily motions and routines with one another, you could find yourself really craving someone's a bit edgy, a bit more unpredictable, and someone who kind of makes you feel alive. So just watch out for that dynamic on the back of this full moon as this month draws to a close. But for now, stay safe, take care, and goodbye.